presentations pretty quick and then. Tuesday, April 19th, 2022 meeting of the Eden Prairie City Council is now called to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I have a brief announcement about Open Podium, which is an invitation to our residents. It's an opportunity for residents to address the City Council on issues related to Eden Prairie City government. Before each council meeting, which the council meetings typically occur on the first and third Tuesday of each month, these open podiums occur from 6:30 to 6:55 here in the council chamber. If you wish to speak at Open Podium, please do contact the City Manager's office at 952-949-8412 by noon of the meeting date with your name, your phone number, and subject matter, just so we can be better prepared for you. If time permits, after scheduled speakers are finished, the mayor will open the floor to unscheduled speakers. Open Podium is not recorded or televised. If you have questions about Open Podium, please do contact the City Manager's office. Mr. Getchell, we have a couple presentations this evening.
We do, Mayor. Thank you very much. The first involves our police department. So I'd like to invite our police chief up, Chief Sackett. He will be recognizing one of our programs, one of our city programs.
Mayor and members of the council, thank you for having us. On April 6th, the Minnesota Chiefs of Police Association presented their Excellence and Innovation Award to the Eden Prairie Police Department for our juvenile diversion program. The Excellence and Innovation recognizes Minnesota police agencies for their superior achievement in innovation in law enforcement programs, efforts, or initiatives that benefit law enforcement as a profession. The Excellence in Innovation Award is a tribute to the hard work of this man, Randy Thompson, who serves as our juvenile diversion coordinator. He helped start the program in 2006 and has been the coordinator since the program's inception. The program was created to give first-time offenders who have committed minor crimes a chance to meet with the people impacted by their crimes in lieu of going to court. When offenders meet with victims, an officer who works with the juvenile diversion program also attends to facilitate the conference. A typical disposition agreed upon at the end of the conference includes both restitution and community service. At the end of 2021, the juvenile diversion program worked with its 1,200th offender. The 1,200 offenders were part of 842 family conferences that have taken place since 2006. The recidivism rate for offenders who have gone through our program is approximately 12%, which is below the national average of 20% for teenagers. Our diversion program connects police officers to the community in a positive way by spending times with the family and offering a diversion from our court system. These diversions can be life-changing experiences for both the victim and the offender. We're very proud of the work by Randy Thompson and all of our staff involved in this program. Thank you.
Yes. I didn't know if Mr. Thompson.
That's really nice. Thank you.
I just want to say not only what a great program that is, but Randy Thompson, I think everybody knows Randy Thompson, but from our third graders that have gone through safety camp for years and years, and you had a complete career with the police department, where you were a liaison officer, I think, forever. And then you've had a half of a career or more as a counselor through our school system. He keeps retiring, but he keeps getting these other additional jobs. So he's just so well known in this community. So thank you for all you've done, all your service to the Eden Prairie, city of Eden Prairie, people of Eden Prairie, students, kids, adults, this program. So thank you so much. All right, Mr. Getcho, a park bench donation.
Yes, Mayor, I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Lothammer.
Your Honor, and council members, I'd like to invite Eleanor Finney to come forward tonight. Eleanor is a Girl Scout who's been working on her Gold Award, and she has worked so hard on that we are able to get a park bench donated on her behalf and the work that she's done. So I'll invite Eleanor to come forward. As she does, a couple years ago, she also worked on a project where she was able to donate a bike rack to us, too. So she's no stranger to helping our park system, and we really appreciate that.
Hello, my name is Eleanor Finney, and I'm a Girl Scout in Troop 17155, and I'm currently working on my Gold Award project, Bags to Benches. The purpose of my project is to collect and recycle bags to prevent them from becoming plastic pollution and also get a bench for the city through this. Another purpose of my project is to educate the community about the dangers of plastic pollution. So in order to get the bench, I had to recycle and turn in 500 pounds of plastic to Trex through their community recycling program. And the first step of this process is collecting plastic bags. So the way I did this was working with my project advisor, Cheryl, who already had some collection spots established around the city, and then also reaching out to families and friends and holding a collection drive at a Girl Scout event. Once I had all the bags that I needed to be processed, I worked with my dad to help sort through them and just make sure that nothing else had gotten mixed in with the bags, or to make sure that they were all the correct type of plastic to be recycled. So once all the bags are sorted and we kind of pack them into smaller bags, then we had to put them all into like really big, like 50-gallon garbage bags, so we could bring them to Kohl's, who was the program's like drop-off site. So after all 500 pounds were turned in, that's where I coordinated with Jason Goblersh at the Parks and Recs department to get the bench delivered and then eventually placed. So the next portion of my project is really working on community education about plastic pollution and just trying to make people aware of the dangers of it and why it's really important to limit plastic usage, or to also make sure that it's disposed of in a way that minimizes its environmental impact. I'm also working towards setting up the recycling program as an ongoing event within the Prairie Sky Girl Scout Service Unit, so hopefully more Girl Scouts can do this in the future. So finally, I would just like to thank the City of Eden Prairie, specifically the Parks and Recreation Department, for supporting my Gold Award and helping me to maximize its impact. Thank you.
Hey, Eleanor, just a second. Plastic bags don't weigh a lot, so 500 pounds of them. What are we talking about? Like a trailer, a pickup truck? I mean, that's a lot, isn't it?
We had like a trailer for a while, and then we used all of those, and so there was more. It was about like, we had like the big 50-gallon garbage trays from Costco, and it was about 20 of those just packed full with plastic bags.
Good for you. But the message and the education piece is really cool, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Lothammer, on the park bench, is there some acknowledgement or recognition of Eleanor's hard work?
Yes, and this is actually one of a couple that have come our way. As you walk into City Hall tonight, on the right-hand side, you'll see collection, as well as over at the community center, too. So this is even an ongoing effort, and we're looking forward to more. These Trex benches are a really high-quality bench, too,
Nice.
so long-lasting, yeah.
Very good. Yes, please.
Eleanor, I have a next project for you, straws. Straws is one of the biggest problem, and I don't know you know that. And so,
Yeah, good point. Don't overwhelm her, but yes, absolutely. Thank
but
you.
thank you though.
Yeah,
Really appreciate
that's.
Oh.
I guess we need a motion to accept this donation.
I move to accept the donation of the park bench from Eleanor Finn.
Second?
Fine.
Okay. Finney, I think, correct?
Fen-
Yeah.
Finney?
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Eleanor, you just make us proud. Thank you so much. Okay, Mr. Getchell.
Thank you, Mayor. We have with us tonight Len Simich. He is the Chief Executive Officer of Southwest Transit. He has been in that position for 25 years, since 1997. He's been the Chief Executive of Southwest Transit, and I think many of the council members who have served on the board of Southwest Transit are familiar with Len and have worked with Len from a city staff perspective. I know I and many of our staff obviously have worked with Len also and his staff over the years, and we just felt that tonight, with the recommendation of the city council, we should spend a little bit of time recognizing Len for his years of service and his service to the city of Eden Prairie, and thanking him for all that he's done. So with that, I'm just providing the introduction, Mayor. I know you actually have a proclamation, and I know some other council members may have some thoughts on working with Len as well.
I just want to add also, I may have my data wrong, but you can nod or something back in the back, Len. But when I was on the Southwest Transit Board, he can say that for now. I'm going to call him up in a moment, but or you can call him up.
Len, come up.
But at the time, back when I was on, I think in the late 90s, whatever, I think the budget at the time was $5, $6, $7 million, but it was larger than half the cities or more in the state of Minnesota. So the role and the job that Len Simich had all those years was very, very much a city manager position, if not, again, larger than most cities. And I'm sure it's much grown from that today. So I want to read a proclamation for you, to you, and also to share this with the people of Eden Prairie. Proclamation. Whereas Len Simich served as the Executive Director CEO for Southwest Transit for more than 25 years starting in 1997. And whereas Len Simich is the longest service Executive Director CEO in Southwest Transit's history. And whereas Len Simich transformed public transit in the city of Eden Prairie, leading SWT to numerous awards, including National Public Transit System of the Year, which I think is amazing and so well-deserved, and Minnesota Public Transit System of the Year. And whereas Len Simich is a pioneer of transit-oriented development, TOD, through his development of Southwest Station in Eden Prairie, the first suburban TOD in the country. And whereas Len Simich conceived of, acquired funding for, and oversaw the construction of over $60 million in transit assets to benefit SWT's communities, including 4 park and ride transit centers and numerous expansions and renovations to SWT's Eden Prairie Garage. And whereas Len Simich increased ridership on SWT by over 300% during his 25 years as Executive Director CEO by conceiving of and constructing a highly successful express bus park and ride network. And whereas Len Simich oversaw the implementation of the first successful public microtransit system, Southwest Prime, in the United States. These are amazing stats when you think about it, the first ever in the whole U.S., allowing for virtually unlimited mobility for Eden Prairie residents. And whereas Len Simich always put community first by providing transit services above and beyond Southwest Transit's core services to countless special events, including the state fair, sporting events, concerts, and numerous city-sponsored events. And whereas Len Simich is a visionary whose leadership has led to a world-class transit system, and whereas Len Simich is a man of character who exhibited a steady, fair, collaborative style, who always put the community, riders, and his employees first, and whereas Len Simich has set a standard of leadership for the community that should serve as an example to current and future leaders for years to come. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Eden Prairie City Council does hereby proclaim April 19th, 2022 as Len Simich Day in Eden Prairie, adopted by the Eden Prairie City Council this 19th day of April 2022. Mayor Ronald Case. I'll come down and then if you... Yes. Do you want to say anything? Or would you like to say it? Sure.
Certainly. I'm speechless. I really am. It's quite an honor And it's been my privilege to serve this fine community and all the Southwest communities. And I say that truly. None of this happened because of me. I've had a lot of help and a lot of support over the years. I can go on and on just about the members from your council, including PG, the mayor, Mark, going back to Nancy Terralukins, Brad Aho, go on and on and on. I've had nothing but support and the vision and the ability to do some things that many of my colleagues around the country did not have those opportunities. So for that, I'm truly grateful. And the staff. I mean, I've had quality staff, many staff that have been with me for the bulk of this ride. And without them taking care of business back at the stations, at the garage, would not allow me to do some of the things that I was able to do. So, like I said, I'm truly humbled, and I very much value this. So thank you.
Well, stay there. Anybody else want to say anything? Yes, Councilmember Freiberg.
This goes without saying, Len. I have the honor of serving on the board right now, and you cast a very big shadow, my friend, and I'm going to dearly miss you on it. One of the biggest, the biggest trait I think Len has is that for a person that's a CEO in charge of the big operation of Southwest Transit, you meet him, he's just a guy. He comes, that's one of the highest compliments I can give someone, because many people cannot carry that off. And what his staff thinks of him, they probably may not tell you, but as far as I know, that they think the world of you and what you've done. And so do I. And you are going to be dearly missed.
Thank you.
Thank you, my friend.
Councilmember Nelson.
I would like to say thank you on behalf of all the university students that were able to ride your bus to and from the university, and all the people that you helped get to work day in, day out, always on time. There have been so many people in this community that owe a huge portion of their life to the fact that Southwest Transit was a viable way to not have to drive and how to get where you wanted to go in comfort. And most communities haven't been able to say that over that length of time. But we have had it in Eden Prairie, and I think it's a lot thanks to you. So please know that a lot of those people really appreciate what you were able to do for them.
Thank you.
Councilmember Narayan.
Len, I think I've known you for a lot of years, but I've known you closely last 3 years. I've been one of your board members. And like Mr. Freiberg said, you are definitely an outstanding leader. The way you deal with your staff and commissions, it is really great. And I want to point out a couple of things, experience I had with you. For example, the COVID time came, I don't know you remember, and I had a conversation with Prop, Janet Palmer, and one of the things she was struggling is that when school closed, a lot of kids used to get a free meal in the school. And she wanted to deliver the meal. And I called you up, and you said, no problem. And you worked with the Prop, and you started delivering food for those kids that cannot go to school. And it took me, 5 minutes talking to you, and that's it. I backed off, and the whole thing, I don't know how many hundreds of kids that's that time that you delivered food. So that show your character and the passion for serving our community. And I want to point out a couple of more things. I mean, you're truly an innovator. You can say all of us sitting here, council, enable you, but you executed, right? A lot of people cannot execute. Even though we only can enable you to do things, right? So you actually went and did it, like Southwest Prime, MD, now Southwest Prime, that if somebody want to go to the airport, you can take a Southwest Prime, $8. Is it $8? I think $8 to the airport, right? And I know my kids did that a couple of times, and they really think it's a very great, very good service. That's a part of innovation, Wi-Fi, a lot of things, and that you have done. I just want to say, really enjoy working with you. and thank you for your support for the city, and making transportation is a big thing for Eden Prairie, and it's very important for Eden Prairie. And thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
Councilmember Toomey.
Mr. Simich, I've never served on the Southwest Transit Committee. I almost did. I was bummed. But I'm happy to be on the 494 Commission. So I would just like to say thank you on behalf of all the citizens of Eden Prairie and our surrounding communities for all of your service and your hard work. And I really, really enjoy taking the bus to the fair every year. And I wish you luck, and just thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
So I know that often we say when people are retiring or they're done with their career that you made a difference, and that's true. But just know that your life, your leadership, your vision, your professionalism has made a difference in this community. And your legacy is that you made the world of Eden Prairie so much better. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you all.
Yeah.
I did really appreciate my time here. And it 25 years actually next week, and I started downstairs here. It was my first home, and I was welcomed, and I never looked back. So thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We should. All right. Mr. Getcho, we have, we're honored this evening to have both of our county commissioners here with us. So do you want to say anything in the beginning, and then we'll let them have the floor?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, we are proud to be represented by two commissioners on the Hennepin County Board of Commissioners, Chris Latondras and Debbie Gattell. And they have been to our meeting on a pretty regular basis, on an annual basis. So when we can get you combined into one presentation and one meeting together, it's even more appreciated. But I believe you do have a presentation together, a PowerPoint, and certainly come on up. And we're happy to have you here. And the council will obviously maybe have some questions for you as well following your presentation.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate the time here tonight. Mayor Case and council members, city manager and staff. Thank you for allowing us to have time on your very busy agenda this evening. My colleague, Commissioner Chris Latondras, and I are honored to be here with you this evening and in person as two of your county commissioners here together. So if you could start the slide presentation and then move to the next slide, please. Thank you. Most of you know I represent District 5, including Richfield, Bloomington, and about 2/3 of Eden Prairie. Commissioner Latondras represents District 6, which includes Hopkins, Edina, Minnetonka, Northern Eden Prairie, and 12 cities around Lake Minnetonka. So he's glad to be here.
Does the most
me.
cities win? I forget.
I don't know. He's got more meetings than I do. So.
Oh, that's true.
But this is a true partnership between both of us with weekly visits and calls, and we share a lot of the work together. We want to share the work of your vision of Eden Prairie and your goals. And so I just wanted to say how much we appreciate that we're both here together, both working together. The map that you see there too, and I think a couple of my colleagues up here on the dais were talking about the redistricting. It's going to show very little change in Eden Prairie with your two commissioners here, and we're kind of glad about that.
So are we. Thank you.
Local government, we built a strong relationship and partnership here. And we're going to promise you that we're always going to be together in a relationship with Hennepin County and with our sister cities here, Eden Prairie, remaining strong for years to come. Just a quick side note, though, I will have to tell you that I speak often with county staff, as Commissioner Latondras does as well, and they speak so highly of the great two-way communication between the city staff and the county staff. And you enjoy a very fabulous relationship with them. So I want to point that out. So tonight we're going to highlight just some of what your county government has been up to, where dollars have been spent, and about the next expanding programs that we're doing, some of the new programming. So we'll leave some time at the end for some questions. And I will ask for the next slide, please. So quickly, I just want to talk about this, and you've probably seen this before in meetings. Before I turn this over to Commissioner Latondras, I just wanted to take a moment to highlight Hennepin's disparity reduction domains. This is very important work we do. We engage every aspect of our work across all departments, and with lines of businesses through the lens of disparity reduction, represented through 7 specific areas, and you can see those represented up there by the cogs of the gears. And as we all know, Minnesota has some of the greatest racial disparities in the nation, and all of us have the responsibility to steward our influence to reduce them. And now, I'd like to thank my great Commissioner Latondras for actually mostly pulled this presentation together with his staff. So he's just great, and I really appreciate that. Saved me a lot of work, and you have way more cities. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Commissioner Latondras.
Thank you, Commissioner Gattel, and thanks to all of you. I'm just going to start my portion tonight with a moment of remembrance and gratitude as we mark 2 years of living together with COVID-19. Remembrance as we mourn the loss of, I've got the number here as of today, 2,575 friends, neighbors, and loved ones here in Hennepin County to this terrible disease. And of course, gratitude for all of those who have made it possible for us to get through these difficult years. Our frontline healthcare workers and heroes, our educators, our frontline workers, and our local governments, including the city of Eden Prairie. Together, I believe we have saved lives, and we have helped seen residents through this unprecedented storm. If you can pull up the slide there, it's one of our Hennepin County healthcare workers, public health workers. Over 74% of Hennepin County residents have now completed the vaccine series, offering each of them better protection and putting all of us on the path to normalcy. And our public health team has been on the front lines of these efforts, delivering nearly 70,000 doses through dozens of clinics and community vaccination events with congregations, small businesses, and community partners and small businesses across our county. Because that's really what it's about. It's about reducing barriers and building trust. And that's what good government is in action. Next slide, please. As a nation, we have met this unprecedented time with some pretty monumental federal investments and opportunities, and trusted the local governments to steward together. This past year, Hennepin County received a one-time allocation of $246 million in federal funding through the American Rescue Plan Act, or ARPA. And the message that we've heard from residents has been loud and clear. They want us to balance our short-term pandemic emergency response to both the public health and the economic disruptions with really smart long-term investments to build a better future. And among those topics that have risen to the top, both from residents and what we've focused on, as you'll see some of those topics here, housing stability, public safety, supporting small businesses, and climate action. And we've moved with some urgency to address these priorities and many more that you can see here. It's Hennepin's actions on a few of these topics that I'll spotlight tonight. Next slide, please. The first spotlight tonight is on housing stability. So 1 in 3 families in Hennepin County is housing cost burdened, which means they pay more than a third of their income on housing. And it's culminating in an escalating crisis of affordability and homelessness that we're seeing manifested in all of our communities. Next slide. This is the one that keeps me up at night as the chair of Hennepin County's Housing and Redevelopment Authority. There are 73,000 extremely low-income houses in our county and fewer than 15,000 affordable units available to them. It is a startling gap, you can see it there, that directly connects to the visible rise in homelessness across our county. And since the start of COVID, we have assisted 5,800 households countywide with more than $48 million in emergency rental assistance, including over $1 million to 116 households here in Eden Prairie. This federally funded program has offered a lifeline to residents in crisis, but it is not a sustainable or permanent solution. In fact, it's just starting to expire. And we know we have to do more. Next slide.
Hey, Commissioner, just a second. Go back to
Yep.
that last one, just so we can explain to others too.
Yep.
What is this slide saying? I mean, you're not saying there's 60,000 people who have no place to live. They're living somewhere.
They're living somewhere. So the gap
they're also
here,
not homeless.
they're housing cost burdens. So it's the 73,000 families who are at that 30% AMI level. That's extremely low income, and only 14,000 units that are affordable to them
they're living
at that
in units
level.
more expensive than that, and they really are struggling.
Correct.
Understood. Okay. Thank you.
So that's why with our ARPA dollars, Hennepin County is going big on long-term housing stability with a historic $91 million investment of our $246 million. As reported by the Star Tribune, this investment will, quote, boost the county's normal one-year spending by more than 60%. And our goal is to help 1,000 homeless residents and create 2,000 affordable housing units. And as part of this work, and this is what the photo is, we're also transitioning hotels acquired for our COVID-19 isolation shelters, including the Metro Inn, which is pictured here, into a long-term housing through our new single-room occupancy strategy, filling a critical link in the housing continuum. Next slide. On top of that, through our annual HRA grants program, last year we invested an unprecedented $17 million supporting over 1,500 new affordable units, including projects in District 5 and District 6 outlined here. Next slide, please. The next spotlight in tonight's presentation is on public safety. As the vice chair of our Law, Safety, and Justice Committee, this is one of our board's top priorities. In 2021, we approved the Hennepin County Sheriff's Office request for 31 new deputies to fill gaps and serve in critical areas of need. And we also approved $8.2 million to expand the North Metro Public Safety Training Facility in Maple Grove. When it is completed, it will be a world-class training space for sheriff deputies and local law enforcement that will increase capacity and allow us to modernize curriculum with new technologies and best practices. Next slide. And in some of the work that I think both Commissioner Gattel and I are most proud of, we have authorized the expansion of our embedded social worker program to 8 new suburban police departments in 2022, including Eden Prairie.
Thank you.
And thank you for that partnership. Because all in, that's 22 social workers embedded in 23 police departments serving 35 cities countywide. And that's just in the few short years since we started this program. 2019 was the beginning of this. Eden Prairie, as I mentioned, is a part of this most recent expansion with your police department joining the coalition. And it's a really important and promising partnership, and we're in close touch with all of you and Chief Sackett as we learn how to do this together and better serve residents in crisis and improve public safety for all of us. So I'll turn things back over to Commissioner Gattel for the remainder of the presentation.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate that. Can I have the next slide, please? Thank you, Commissioner Latondras. The third spotlight is about fully recovering from the pandemic and what that means to supporting our small businesses. This is the backbone of our communities here. These businesses are trying to stay afloat, and the new businesses are starting up because people lost their jobs and they found a way to make it work a different way. So we provided $70 million in grants to small businesses in Hennepin County's hardest hit areas by COVID-19, including 286 grants totaling more than $3 million in Eden Prairie alone for your small businesses to keep them going.
Hey, give that stat again. Seriously, what was it?
$3 million. $70 million total, $3 million just in Eden Prairie.
200 some businesses, you said?
286 grants.
286 grants, some of those
Might be the same business. Thank you.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, more than once. And you guys said city funds delivered here too. I'm sure you helped multiple businesses as well, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
We all came in together to do this, didn't we? Yes. Next slide, please. So, along with that too, a lot of our staff were really working hard with all this, and many of you probably are very familiar with the Open to Business, a long-running county assistance program for businesses to establish themselves or startups or to expand. So we've expanded that, and we've established Elevate Business HC in partnership with the Minneapolis Regional Chamber. This program is a pro bono consulting resource for businesses or small businesses to help either recover from the pandemic or to build a future of growth. It includes 25 hours of one-on-one consultations with experts and as advisors on topics ranging from accounting to business planning to legal to marketing to web design to human resources. And interested residents can learn a lot more about this because this is ongoing and still running at hennepin.us/elevate. So if you've got, I'm sure you have a lot of entrepreneurs around here. So this is a great program.
And we have a new program. I don't know if you know this, but we're in partnership with the Chamber, the school district, the city, and Million Cups to actually start a space at the high school starting this fall for entrepreneurship that will tie right into their high school program during the day and then open up to the community entrepreneurship in the evening. So I am taking notes as maybe we knew about this already, but this is exciting. So thank you.
Well, let's have the county partnership with you. Go ahead, Lisa.
I just have a question. The people that advise them, are they volunteers that do that? Like maybe retired executives?
Some of them are volunteers, but actually some of them are paid by some of the funds that we have at Hennepin County and from the Chamber.
Okay.
From grant dollars.
Yeah,
So
we've contracted with a number of organizations that deliver these services professionally. So, these aren't government workers sort of advising somebody who's started a business. These are folks with backgrounds in finance, marketing.
I just thought it would be a good thing for a retired person if they're looking for something to do.
Well, we have that too with Open for Business, and we do have a mentorship program for those who are retired. And I know that some of your folks have taken advantage of that here.
Nice.
So, yes. So the next slide, please. And I wanted to talk a bit about climate change, climate leadership. In 2021, Hennepin County Board unanimously passed our first ever climate action plan, setting an ambitious net zero by 2050 carbon emissions. A goal is our new North Star, and we established a new Department of Climates and Resiliency. And that individual is charged with operationalizing the 5 goals, 29 strategies, and 145 corresponding tactics in the plan. So it's robust. The Climate Action Plan has such a wide support throughout all of our communities in Hennepin County, including a lot from Eden Prairie. There was tremendous community input in this entire process. So we look forward to partnering with Eden Prairie and our other cities with your visions and your goals as well. And we will succeed with this Climate Action Plan when we all work together and walk together in this journey. So next slide.
And I know you know this, but we're the first city in the state to join you in our 2050 carbon neutrality, which we now have as our city initiative. We also have, I think we joined you in this too, we have a 2030 goal of having every single city-owned municipal vehicle be electric if one exists by 2030. And I thought the county was looking at that too. Or
Yes, we have.
So we're, I think, in partnership with you, not to say that, even though it's important to Councilmember Narayan that we're always the best, we are in this case.
Have to lead.
We just have to lead. But nonetheless, we're joining you in leadership, and I really appreciate your leadership in the climate action area. So thank you.
Yes, we have to do this together. We won't
Absolutely.
be successful otherwise. So thank you. Thank you for your leadership. With this next slide, this is just one of the many graphs and charts that we have up on our website. So residents can read the entire plan, and many of them have at www.hennepin.us/climate action. They can Google Hennepin County and climate, and they'll find it too. On the website, you'll find a whole bunch of these useful charts and infographics, like this one that the map is out here detailing how we're going to get to that net zero by 2050. There's a lot of strategies going into this, including reducing the vehicle miles through electrification, like you talked about. Also waste reduction, all areas where Eden Prairie has already been a real leader and a partner in joint efforts. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Next slide. I can't end without this one topic, our final topic. I wanted to highlight briefly before turning things back over to you, Mayor, our critical partnership on transportation and transit. Southwest Light Rail has been in the news recently. I'm sure you're following that. Hennepin County, though, is committed to this project. We are the largest funder supporting Met Council in the goal to see this through to completion. I just want to assure you of that. Construction of Southwest Light Rail is very far along here in Eden Prairie, and we will soon be moving into systems control part of the contract because of this. I want to thank you and the City Council for this continued support of this project. And the new completion date, if you didn't get that from before, in service will be 2027. And I hope to be here at the ribbon cutting and writing from Eden Prairie down. So I'm
hope to be
looking
able to
forward
join
to
you.
this. Yes. And then our last slide here is just more on transportation, but it's about our great partnership that we have together and the different types of road projects that are currently going to happen this year or in the next couple of years, that we're partnerships together with the county and the city to make a difference in our community. So I know you've been fielding some calls about housing values and everything, but I understand you already had your assessor in here. If you ever want the county to come in here and answer some of those questions and take some of that heat off, we're very pleased to do that as well. I just want you to know that you can call us here at any time when you want some more perspective or information from the county.
We just blamed it all on you. I think that was our answer, wasn't it, when people called?
A lot of
It's
people
all
do.
the county's
Right.
fault.
Yeah.
Well, it helps when our logo's at the top.
Yes, it does. It does. And with that, Mayor Case, I'm going to turn things back over to you, and we're happy to stand for further questions.
Well, I'll open up to council members in just a moment, but I, again, just want to thank you, both of you. We have for decades, I think, had a great partnership between the city and the county, but at the end of the day, governments are really relationships. They're people. They're the ones of us that are in these offices at one particular moment in time. It's so nice having the two of you there. So thank you. I pick up the phone and I call either one of you, and it's I count you both as friends. I'm sure everyone up here does too. So it's so valuable to all of us. So thank you for being where you are and doing the job you're doing. Council members, anything else you'd like to ask or add or speak, or shall we let these good people go?
I always like to have a couple of comments.
Please.
Thank you, Mayor. Like Mayor said, thank you. It's nice to see you both again. So I don't know when last time we saw, but anyway, thank you. A couple of questions. You were talking about the people passed away because of COVID and the first responders. So I had a conversation 2 years ago with our city manager and said, these people are working really hard. And the first responders, and I was just wondering, do we know how many of them are in Hennepin County and how many of the people are that in Eden Prairie? And let me just continue. The idea I had was we should do something for them. Right?
First responders or the people that have passed away?
No, the first responders. I mean, people passed
How
away.
many first responders that
Yeah.
actually live in Eden Prairie?
Yeah, I mean, they work so hard, so many hours, and, they struggled through last 2 years, right? It's unbelievable amount of effort. I can't even imagine being a nurse or a doctor or even police and all the frontline workers, right? So I think we should honor them. I don't want to say let's wait for COVID over because I'm not sure when that's going to be. So I think we should honor them because there is thousands of people work very hard. I want to continue my questions or comments. Regard to climate action, as Mayor said, we are a big fan of the climate action and all the things that you're talking about. A couple of difficulty that we found recently is the price of electric vehicle. And one example is that, Len Schmick sitting in the back there, in Southwest, we want to have the prime buses to be electric vehicle, and we did some quote, and it's almost double the price. and we could not get any grant or anything else to make it up. And these buses are, I don't know how many years, but it's not a short 1 year thing, investment, right? So it's still difficult, even though we have the passion, we want to do it, and a little bit okay, but 100%, 115, 120% more to this particular event. I don't know that's true for the other ones, right? Yes. So I think any help in that area to grant people like Southwest want to do these things, able to do it, and especially long-term investment. The last one is solar, roofing, so on. It's all part of the whole package that, I think we need to help them. Otherwise, we'll not have that 2050 goal met. By naturally, we're hoping the demand go up. I see more and more electric vehicle cars, and these people laugh at me, my colleagues sitting here, because every developer come there and building something and parking lot, the first thing I will ask is, do you have EV charger? And they laugh at me. But now became a normal. They come to us and say, oh yeah, we have provision our garage to be 220, so you can plug in your car, right? So anyway, I'm going to stop. Just few comments and few thoughts. Just want to share with you.
Well, I can tell you that in Hennepin County, we have honored our first responders financially when we could as well, besides just giving the time off that they need to be when they get sick with COVID or their family members do. We've done as much as we can. And at the end of contract negotiations, we forgave all their time that they took past their PTO. We thought it was only fair after this and what they have sacrificed through themselves and their families. As far as for honoring the ones in Eden Prairie, I know they're here. I do, but unfortunately, I think because of privacy, we probably can't give you their addresses and everything. But we certainly could put a note out somewhere through social media, so that if you wanted to do something special in your own community, there would be a good way. And you could probably also just contact some of your local providers in the healthcare field. They would know who they are.
So my suggestion, my suggestion was some monument, something is as a group, not as an individual, as a group, just to say thank you for all the work that last 2 years that you've done, put extra effort, and of course I love to have one of them in Eden Prairie.
Well, I know some city halls are doing that across the country. We'll have to have that conversation with county staff.
Councilmember Toomey.
No, I was just going to let remind Councilmember Narayan that we're doing free art classes for first responders at the Art Center. 3 months of free art classes, because art therapy's been shown to be a really good thing for people suffering from PTSD or anything like that. So, but anyways, thank you guys for coming.
Anything else?
Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Your time tonight, but also we appreciate
Call
you.
us if you want to follow up on anything.
We will. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you very much.
Likewise, you call us if we can help you.
Oh, yes.
All right, moving on to the agenda then. Looks like we're to the approval of the agenda. Is that correct if I'm reading that? So any items any council member wants to add under council member reports? None? Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Move to approve the agenda.
Or second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, minutes. Any item or anything about either of the workshop or the meeting that you'd like to question, edit, revise something as you read it through? If not, is there a motion to approve both the workshop and the meeting held back on the 5th?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for the council workshop held on Tuesday, April 5th, 2022, and the minutes for the council meeting held Tuesday, April 5th, 2022.
Is there a second? Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, moving on to the consent calendar, items A through O. Anything that you want to ask staff about, possibly even pull just to discuss more? If not, is there a motion to approve A through O on the consent calendar?
I'll move approval of items A through O on the consent calendar.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye opposed. All right. Payment of claims. Any of the expenditures that you looked over that you'd like to ask a question about before approval? Okay, if not, is there a motion to approve the payment of claims?
For approval of the payment of claims as submitted.
For second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Freiberg,
Aye.
Councilmember Narayan,
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson,
Aye.
Councilmember Toomey,
Aye.
Mayor Case.
Aye.
Mayor, okay. One thing I'd like to say, thank the accounting for making it always so clear for us what the payments are for and such, so that it's easy to go through them and know that it's, stuff that should be paid and stuff. But
And just let people know, too, that as much as we skim them now and then, we have audits annually that are precise, to the dime or to the penny, and so that we can trust that as well. And we have a great financial department here at the city, and we win awards for what they do. So, all right. So we approved that. So we're moving on. So I believe we have nothing else to come before us tonight. Is that accurate?
That's correct, Mayor. I'll add, because you were talking about the financial statement piece. Our next council meeting, the highlight of the entire workshop and the meeting will be our audit and our financial statements from 2021. So we're going to hear, our auditors will be here at the next meeting to present at the council and the workshop. So that'll be a focus at our next meeting.
Excellent. All right. Is there a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting?
I'll move to adjourn the city council meeting.
second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned.